George Washington. Early life and background. George Washington was born on February 28, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia, in the British American colonies. He was the first child of Augustine Washington and his second wife, Mary Ball Washington. His family was moderately prosperous and owned plantations worked by enslaved laborers, which was typical among the Virginia gentry of that time. Washington's father died when he was just 11 years old, and this early loss influenced his life significantly. As the eldest son of his father's second marriage, he did not inherit his father's main estate, which went to his older half-brothers. This circumstance led him to develop a sense of responsibility and independence at an early age. Washington's formal education was relatively limited compared to some of his contemporaries. He did not attend college, but he was home-tutored and attended a local school where he studied subjects such as mathematics, geometry, trigonometry, and surveying. He also learned moral philosophy and the principles of gentlemanly behavior from the popular manual, Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior in Company and Conversation, which he copied by hand in his youth, and which guided his personal conduct throughout his life. By his mid-teens, Washington had become a skilled land surveyor, a profession that gave him both a steady income and a broader understanding of the colonial frontier. Early career and military service. In the 1750s, tensions between Britain and France over control of the Ohio Valley erupted into the French and Indian War. At the age of 21, Washington began his military career when he was appointed as a major in the Virginia militia. He gained early fame and military experience during expeditions to the Ohio Valley, including the ill-fated Battle of Fort Necessity in 1754. Despite early setbacks, Washington was promoted and later served as an aide to British General Edward Braddock during his disastrous campaign in 1755. Washington's coolness under fire and leadership earned him recognition and admiration. By 1758, disillusioned with the British military system and its treatment of colonial officers, Washington resigned his commission and returned to private life at his home, Mount Vernon, a plantation he had inherited from his half-brother Lawrence Washington. In 1759, George Washington married Martha Dandridge Custis, a wealthy widow with 2 young children. Though the couple had no biological children of their own, Washington became a devoted stepfather to Martha's children, John Parke Custis and Martha Parke Custis. Through his marriage, Washington significantly increased his wealth and land holdings. He became one of Virginia's wealthiest landowners, operating Mount Vernon as a plantation that depended heavily on enslaved labor. Over the years, he expanded the estate and improved its operations, while also becoming involved in local politics. As British colonial policies became increasingly oppressive in the 1760s and 1770s, especially with acts like the Stamp Act and Townshend Acts, Washington grew more politically active. He became a strong critic of British interference in colonial affairs and was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses, where he served for over 15 years. He was an early supporter of colonial resistance and served as a delegate to the First and Second Continental Congresses, where his leadership qualities and military experience made him a natural choice for Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army when the American Revolution began in 1775. Washington's appointment as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army marked the most significant turning point in his life. Despite leading a poorly equipped and undertrained force, Washington's strategic patience, perseverance, and leadership helped sustain the revolutionary cause. The surprise attack and victory at Trenton after crossing the Delaware River in 1776, the Battle of Princeton, another morale-boosting victory, the long and grueling winter at Valley Forge, 1777 to 1778, where he kept his army together under dire conditions, the eventual victory at the Siege of Yorktown in 1781, where Washington, with crucial aid from French forces, forced the surrender of British General Cornwallis. Washington emerged from the war as a national hero. In 1783, he famously resigned his commission and returned to private life, an act that reinforced his commitment to democratic principles and earned him even greater respect. After the failure of the Articles of Confederation, Washington was persuaded to come out of retirement to preside over the Constitutional Convention in 1787. His leadership helped ensure the success of the convention and the creation of the U.S. Constitution. In 1789, he was unanimously elected the first President of the United States, a position he held for 2 terms until 1797. As president, Washington set many important precedents. He established the tradition of a peaceful transfer of power, formed the first cabinet, including leaders like Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of State, and Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of the Treasury, oversaw the adoption of the Bill of Rights in 1791, helped stabilize the young republic through the Jay Treaty with Britain and the suppression of the Whiskey Rebellion. Washington avoided partisan politics and warned against them in his farewell address, which also cautioned against foreign entanglements and sectional divisions. Washington retired to Mount Vernon in 1797. He remained a respected national figure and briefly came out of retirement in 1798 to lead the army during the Quasi-War with France. Though he never saw combat, he died on December 14, 1799 at the age of 67, likely from a severe throat infection, possibly acute epiglottitis. His death was mourned across the country, and he was eulogized as the father of his country. George Washington is widely regarded as one of the greatest figures in American history. His major achievements include leading the Continental Army to victory in the Revolutionary War, presiding over the Constitutional Convention, serving as the first president, shaping the executive branch, and setting enduring precedents, promoting national unity and the peaceful transfer of power, voluntarily relinquishing power, both after the Revolution and after his presidency, establishing a model of democratic leadership. Despite these achievements, Washington's legacy is also complex. He was a slaveholder who freed his slaves only upon his death, a decision that continues to prompt reflection and debate. Today, Washington's image is enshrined in American culture, from the $1 bill in Mount Rushmore to the nation's capital bearing his name, Washington, D.C. He remains a symbol of leadership, integrity, and dedication to Republican ideals. For more interesting information, check out our channel and subscribe.